Hey everyone, you're watching video 2 of Fabulous Files. In this video, we're going to talk about pixels and why they're important to know for your content. Pixels are the smallest areas of an image. They look like blocks of color, and when you put them together, they make a whole image. Your computer screen, smartphone, camera, and other devices all use pixels to display images. Most of your images are also made up of pixels. As we talked about in the last video, raster images use pixels to make up the image. That includes files like JPEG, PNG, and PDF. If we were to take this JPEG image right here and zoom in on it by a lot, we'll start to see the pixels that make up the image. Now, this is great and all, but why is this important? Well, pixels have a lot to do with the size of your image and where it can fit. Social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook prefer images with a specific pixel size. If you've ever tried to make an event on Facebook, you've probably noticed that you need a particular size of image to make it look right. If you have an image that's too square, it gets cut off. And if you're like me, you've probably looked up what the Facebook event image size needs to be, and the answer was in pixels. This is so that your image is the correct size to fit with Facebook's layout. When they tell you that the Facebook event photo needs to be 1200 by 628, it's saying that it works best when it's at that size. It fits with the needed shape for the event image, and it makes it so that the image isn't too big or too small. They also say that they recommend that images are 1920 by 1080. This is so that your image has a good quality, because pixel size can also determine the quality of your image. If you think about it, the more pixels you have, the more opportunities for color there are. Take a look at these photos. The photo on the left is 1080 by 1080 pixels, which is the suggested size for Instagram photos. The photo on the right is only 108 by 108 pixels. You can see an immediate difference, although this is a bit of an extreme example. But it's important to know the size of your image because it can make or break your website. And just as the pixel size of your image can determine the quality of your image, it can also help determine the overall size of an image. Pixels can be converted into other units of measurement. For instance, 1080 by 1080 pixels converts to 15 by 15 inches. So an image that you upload on Instagram that's 1080 by 1080 pixels would look to be really good quality on a phone screen where the overall screen width doesn't get more than like 10 inches. Because if you take a larger photo and shrink it down, it doesn't lose its quality because there are still that many pixels to make up your image. They just shrunk into smaller blocks. However, if you were to look at a photo that's 1080 by 1080 on a large screen that's like 25 inches across and it takes up the whole screen, it's going beyond its 15 inch by 15 inch size, which means it's going to start to look pixelated because you're stretching those blocks of color to fit over a larger area. The same kind of concept works with Instagram. If you have an image that's less than the size of a typical phone screen, then your image is going to show up blurry. Instagram accepts images in any size between 320 pixels and 1080 pixels. If it's larger than 1080, it will convert it to a maximum of 1080. And if it's smaller than 320, it will enlarge it to fit 320. Although 320 pixels is pretty small, so most of the time it's going to be blurry, which is why the recommended size is 1080 pixels. And that's to ensure that your image is the best quality for Instagram without it being too large. So now we've talked about pixels and how they make your images large, and why platforms like Instagram don't let you go above 1080 pixels. And that's because pixel size can also affect your file size. But that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll talk about file size versus pixel size and why it's important to know both. Thanks for watching.